Hey, how you doing? My name is Al Elliott, and this is my YouTube channel. And today I'm here with the self-organized learning environment here in Tarrant, and I have the pleasure of welcoming the world-renowned physicist, Dr. Hadiyah-Nicole Green, and she'll be here just talking with our group of kids about how to become, I guess, a great, wonderful, contributing person to the planet. And even if you don't come up with cures for cancer, that's totally what she's doing. So, with no further ado, Dr. Hadiyah-Nicole Green, you go ahead and let us know what's going on with you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm sitting in my office at Morehouse School of Medicine, and Mr. Elliott asked me to speak with you guys about a few things. He sent me some questions that you had and told me that you guys already knew about me being a physicist. How many of you guys know my story?
Anybody? Anybody know a story? No?
I would like to learn.
No, but we would like to learn. Tell us your story.
Oh, tell us my story. So I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, and I think you guys are all in middle school now, right? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, and when I was in middle school, I was SGA president and captain of the cheerleading team, and I was involved in different extracurricular activities. And when I started high school, one of my mentors expressed to me the importance of making good, how important your high school grades are for the rest of your career. And the reason why that was important is because your high school grades help you get scholarships to college. So I went into high school with a certain level of seriousness that actually came about because I tore my ACL in a cheerleading injury. Because I was initially planning on having a career in track or doing hair, because I was really good at braiding my Cabbage Patch Kids hair. Are you guys old enough to know what Cabbage Patch Kids are?
I know it.
Yes, I am. Yes, I. Oh, you talking about them? I mean, do y'all remember Cabbage Patch Kids? Okay, it's more than just a dance, but we'll cover that after the video.
And so I was really good at braiding Cabbage Patch Kids, the yarn braids. I was really good at that, and I started doing my own hair. So I was planning on having a career either as a cosmetologist or I was going to be this track star, and then I blew out my knee. And I said, I really better take that advice seriously to get good grades. So I went to high school, and I modified my athletic schedule to spend more time studying so that I could try to get an academic scholarship to college. No one else in my family had gone to college before, so this was kind of uncharted territory for me. And in high school, I was in the recycling team. I played on the chess club. I was in the poetry club. And I was class president all 4 years. I did, feels like I'm missing things, but I was very involved in extracurricular activities in high school. And I didn't know what I was going to do when I went to college. And I did a summer program right after I finished high school at Xavier University in New Orleans that was all about computer science, because I figured that was the new trend. I'll do computer science. And then I realized I don't like sitting in front of computers all day. That really wasn't my personality. So I got a full scholarship to Alabama A&M University, which I'm a huge advocate for historically Black colleges and universities. They gave me a full scholarship and really gave me a chance to develop as a person. Being the first in my family to go to college, it was important to me to have a nurturing environment where people cared about me and knew my name, knew my face. They noticed if I wasn't in class that day, and I might get a phone call to see if I was sick, and I probably was if I missed class. And it was just a really nurturing environment where people empowered me and believed in me. And when they found out that I was involved in extracurricular activities in high school, they encouraged me to pursue leadership activities at Alabama A&M. So I ended up being the founding president of the Greater St. Louis Student Association. And that led me into a lot of different extracurricular activities there. And I organized, probably over 1,000 hours of community service initiatives for everyone else on campus to participate in. And I was president of a few different organizations while I was there. And I really unified the campus. And that was something that I did when I was in high school too. I unified my high school classmates, and I unified the students with the community when I was in college. So I changed my major 3 times my freshman year, and I had gone from computer science to electrical engineering to mathematics. And I was coming out of a calculus class one day, and this lady, Dr. Aisha Fields, she wasn't a doctor at the time, she was actually in graduate school. She saw me coming out of a calculus class my freshman year, and she pulled me, "Oh, you must be pretty smart to take calculus as a freshman." And I said, "No, I don't know about smart, but I have really good study habits, and I work really hard." And so she said, "Well, I want to challenge you. If you can handle calculus as a freshman, then why don't you major in physics? What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I really didn't know. And I said, "Well, everybody knows physics is hard, duh." And she's like, "Who told you that? Who told you physics was hard? Probably people who weren't taking calculus as a freshman." And she challenged me to think outside of the box and to not let other people put their limitations and their reality on me. Other people might find physics hard, but I shouldn't accept that as a truth when it was conditional upon me and my own capabilities. So I actually tried it, and I ended up graduating with a 4.0 in my major as a physics major. And I got another full scholarship to go to graduate school, and it was like life opened up. I was planning on pursuing or following in Dr. Fields' footsteps to finish a degree in physics and go into optical communications, which is what she was doing. And to make sure that you guys are following me, optical communications is how your cell phone works, how your cable works, how your internet works. That's the physics behind all the technology that you guys just enjoy, like how you can see me there in Tarrant, even though I'm here at Morehouse School of Medicine in Atlanta, Georgia. Like, I'm in the room with you because of physics. And a lot of times we don't have an appreciation for science in everyday life, in the simple things like how much chemistry is involved in cooking and how physics is involved in us having this conversation right now, even though you guys are really quiet. Are you still with me?
Yes, we're still with you. Actually, what I did, so I muted some of it because, like, every time I move or something, then we kind of take over. But yeah, we here, we listening.
Okay, awesome. So from those conversations with Dr. Fields and me pursuing, following her footsteps, I was, ready for this big career in optical communications. And this summer, like actually right after I graduated from college, and let me put in there, because this was a huge part of my undergraduate experience, my peers and my classmates to be Miss Alabama A&M University. So I got to be the queen of a college campus for an entire year. And it was so funny. The comment that sticks with me the most, my brother, who knew me growing up as a tomboy, who didn't know that my friends came in and did like a makeover show, and I was wearing baggy jeans and oversized t-shirts and no makeup, and my friends came in and they put makeup on me and got rid of my baggy clothes and put dresses and suits and said, you can still be modest and feminine, and people can see you as the queen without you having to be a tomboy. So I don't know if you guys ever seen those what not to wear makeovers, but they literally did one of those for me. So I had the experience of, this is I'm the first in my family to go to college, and I'm like having this amazing experience of, it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity to be the queen of a campus and represent the entire university. So I graduated with the 4.0 in my major. And right after I graduated, my aunt, who raised me from age 4, she announced that she had cancer, and that I then experienced the side effects of chemotherapy and radiation. And that broke my heart, especially as I took care of her the last 3 months of her life. And I watched the cancer eat her literally from the inside out. And I watched her deteriorate and pass away. And it was a painful experience for her and very painful for me to watch. And 3 months after that, my uncle who raised me was diagnosed with cancer. He went through the treatments, and I took care of him while he was receiving the treatments. Those two experiences, seeing what she went through with cancer and what my uncle went through with cancer treatments, to see him lose 150 pounds, to watch hair fall out, his eyebrows, his eyelashes, to watch all his fingernails turn black, and for his skin to look like he had been barbecued. It was horrific. So I'm looking at what happens with cancer when you don't get the treatments, and I'm looking at it really wasn't much better to get the treatments. I said to myself, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way to deal with cancer. And somewhere growing up, I heard the quote, "Be the change that you want to see in the world." And I figured if all the experts knew how to do it, they would have done it better by now, because this to me seemed very ridiculous. So I told you guys I was planning on this career in optical communications, and I had internships every summer in places that would allow me to understand more optical communications. And I understood that a satellite in outer space could tell whether a dime on the ground is face up or face down. And you guys know, if you're in a room full of 1,000 people and you call one person's cell phone, just that person's phone rings, not the whole room. And I asked myself, why can't we have this kind of precision and this kind of targeting with cancer treatment if we can do it when we're imaging satellites and we can, see where your house is from the satellite in outer space, and when we're making telephone calls, we can have a precise interaction. Then why can't we have that when we're treating cancer? So that was the inspiration for me to take my background as the first in my family to go to college, to go from optical communications and a physics undergraduate major, a person with a bachelor's degree in physics, and take this road to pursue a PhD in, it could have been in anything, but I decided to stay true to physics. And I spent 7 years pursuing a PhD in physics at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. UAB, go Blazers. And just to make it balance, go Bulldogs. I love my Alabama A&M as well. And while I was there, I spent 5 years training in the Comprehensive Cancer Center and 1 year in the Department of Pathology. So once I got my ideas together, I wanted to test them in cancer cells in a petri dish, what they call cell culture in vitro. And then once I saw that my therapies were working there, I moved into the small animal models. So I had the opportunity to test my therapies in mice. And I didn't like the idea of working with mice. So I actually became a vegetarian while I was doing the experiments. And that made me feel better about doing the experiments. But and what most people don't understand is that the laboratory mice are actually treated much, much better than the average household pet. There's so many laws to protect them. So you have to make sure that there's a humane practice that gets a lot of approval before you can actually start the experiments with mice, let alone any other type of animals. So I actually developed 2 different platforms for treating cancer. And I don't want to go into the science because I want you guys to make sure that you're following me. So I'll give you a little bit at a time, and I want you to let me know if you understand what I'm doing, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So, have you guys seen a laser pointer before?
No.
The laser pointer like a red dot.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm using something just like that, almost just like that. And I have a solution that has really, really smaller than small, teeny particles inside that get excited and heat up when you shine this laser on it. And that's what causes the cancer cells to die, by shining the laser and these little particles called nanoparticles. Have you guys ever heard of a nanoparticle before?
no.
No, we just talked about. I just told him about nanoparticles just before I come. Yeah. No. They don't.
So I was actually just having a conversation on Friday, how ironic, with Roland Martin. Have you guys heard of him before?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So Roland Martin didn't know what a nanoparticle is either. And he made fun of me after my interview because I was talking to him about nanoparticles. So you guys are in good company. So I'm kind of on this mission to educate educate whoever doesn't know about a nanoparticle, because it's really, really exciting science. And the beauty in something that's 1,000,000 times smaller than a centimeter. You guys know how big a centimeter is, right?
Yes.
Yes. I hope you know how big a centimeter is.
Yes, we know centimeters. We've met centimeters.
Okay. So I'm using something 1,000,000 times smaller than that. And to give you a concept of how small nanoparticles are, you can't see them with the naked eye. You have to use a really powerful microscope in order to see them. But the cool part is when you shine a laser light on them, they heat up and they kill cancer cells. So that's what I'm doing. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
So the best part about it, once I finished graduate school, I went to Tuskegee University, shout out to the Tigers, and figured out how to start promoting what I'm doing and learn how to write grants. And I spent some time with some of the students there. And it was a really good opportunity. But the best part about it, I received $1,000,000 to continue developing the cancer treatments that I developed. How cool is that?
Super cool. Super cool.
So when I grew up, the only time I heard about somebody winning $1,000,000, it was for the lottery. And what are the odds of winning the lottery? Anybody know?
Nothing.
1 in 1,000,000. Yeah, just like the song. Just like the song.
Okay. So let's say 1 in 1,000,000. And there was this book that I read that really changed my life, by Malcolm Gladwell. And Mr. Elliott, he help me remember the name of it.
Don't.
There's tipping point.
Tipping point? Is it tipping point?
Goliath.
The one before that.
Goliath?
No, Jay, that's
No.
the most recent one.
Oh.
Blink.
What's she say?
Blink.
Blink?
The other one. It's the one where he talks about.
Could we just Google it and then act like we thought of it? Could I?
So it's the one where he talks about the people who are successful have invested at least 10,000 hours or 10 years in order to become this overnight success.
Oh, yeah, 10,000 now. Okay, yeah, I remember.
Remember this? Okay.
Outliers.
Yes, the outliers. Yes.
Thank you. Google's in the room. Google's in the house. Outliers.
So that concept of spending 10,000 hours or 10 years focused on something and putting in all that time, effort, and energy, you have better chance, like almost guaranteed chance, of being successful in that and doing something that really sets you apart from everybody else. If you focus for 10 years or 10,000 hours, really honing a skill, focusing on and improving a skill set, and that to me seemed more realistic than trying to win the lottery. And a lot of people think that the $1,000,000 that I received came to my bank account, and it didn't. So some of my family were like, oh, let me hold $5. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to jail for you. That money is regulated by the federal government to make sure that whoever gets this kind of money, and they're called grants, whoever gets this grant money, that money is specifically for the research that you're doing. So one of the things that with the 2 treatments that I have, one I'm developing with this grant, and the other one that's working a lot better, I'm trying to commercialize that so that sooner than later, it will be available for people to go into the hospital somewhere and ask for this treatment. So I came to Morehouse School of Medicine about 4 months ago to partner with them and the clinicians and the surgeons here to help guide me from having the therapy that works in mice to one that works in humans. How cool is that?
Super cool. I have a question. You say you had 2 different, and not just to jump in, but do they have specific names individually? Like, what would you call the one that you're promoting, the treatment, or does it have a name?
So the names, I'll tell you. So one of them is a little complicated, and I've been told to simplify the names, so I'm still working on how I will market them. But one I'm calling a photo nanotherapy. It's simple. It uses light and nanoparticles to treat cancer. and it's an intratumoral therapy, meaning it treats at the location of the tumor. The other one is more of a platform therapy, and it's using fluorescently labeled antibodies combined with the photonanotherapy. And all that means is I have a targeted way of delivering the nanoparticles to the tumor, and I have a component that allows you to image them so I can target, image, and treat in one platform. And the cool part about imaging, the way that we're doing it, is like giving the tumors a glow-in-the-dark property so you can see exactly where the tumor is. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's your name. Something with glow in the dark is probably going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the marketing.
So, but the pictures are cool. So, were there any other questions for me?
We had a couple of room. Come on, yeah, come over here, Steph. Come over here. Ask your question. You had one. Come on, Shabir.
Um,
She can see you. Go ahead.
What's the hardest part of your job?
Oh, the hardest part of this job. That's a really good question because it's not the science. The hardest part, my initial answer was being a Black woman and doing it. That's my initial honest answer. The science itself has actually never been the challenge. And most people think physics is hard, and it's no harder than a woman who's a single mother trying to raise children without assistance. It's no harder than when Black people didn't have the right to vote. It's no harder than slavery. When
That's pretty hard things, but I got you.
No, but I'm saying, like picking cotton from can't see in the morning to can't see at night. The challenges that I face compared to that is
I got
this is not hard. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. When I was in graduate school, I worked a lot of 20-hour days. I cut out a lot of playtime. I didn't watch a lot of TV. I missed parties a lot. And I sacrificed because I knew that this was all that I wanted to do. You know how you feel like you were born to do something? Have you guys ever felt like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I feel about what I'm doing. I feel like I was born to do this. And like people see it when they see, okay, Michael Jordan, he was born to be a basketball player, right? Like, you know, and you see other people who operate in their gift and their talent, where it's like, okay, and when I looked at how many hours Michael Jordan practiced or how many hours Beyonce rehearses, like when you see people operating in their gift, looking at, you guys are old enough, how many hours Michael Jackson rehearsed. When you see people putting in 20-hour days for something that they're passionate about, you can say to yourself, if they can do it, I can do it. And I'm saying to you, if I can do it, you can do it. Whatever it is that you have in your mind, whatever it is that you dream about, whatever it is that comes to you easily, whatever it is that makes you cry or makes your heart ache or gets you angry and upset, whatever it is that bothers you, whatever it is that inspires you, whatever it is that moves you, use that thing as your fuel, as your passion to pursue your dream, to make it different, to change it, to make the world a better place. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes, yes. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, she can see you. Come on, step right up. No? Or just speak loud. Okay, yeah, come on up. You're not gonna speak. Come on now. Are you thinking? I know what's something about an animal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Come on.
Do you what was I about to say?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was something about an animal. What was it, the animal? What was it? Like, do you have a pet?
Do you like cats?
Do you like cats?
Do I like cats? Actually, yes. My godmother had some cats, and I loved her cats. I actually don't own any pets because I travel a lot, but I love cats, dogs, turtles, fish. I used to have an iguana, which is a pretty exotic animal. And we had dogs when I was growing up. So yeah, I love animals. I love pets. I love watching birds. And yeah, so I love animals.
Any other questions?
Mm.
Come on, Rachel. You guys, come on.
I'll tell you guys a fun fact
Okay, fun fact.
that probably fun fact. So I used to be the double Dutch queen when I was in middle school.
Oh, we got to get some jump ropes. I had no idea. I had no idea. I had no idea.
Were you guys double Dutch?
No.
I can
No.
Oh, no double Dutching?
Nah. We single Dutch down here.
So, but those were the types of things when I was growing up that kept me balanced. To be able to say I can do hardcore math and science, but I can also play double Dutch and hopscotch and jump rope and tag and hide and go seek. And I remember growing up, I used to pop wheelies on my bike and climb trees and hop fences. And it's important to have a well-balanced, well-rounded experience in life. So now for adventures, I made, like recently, I had an opportunity to do research in Singapore, and I went to China and climbed the Great Wall of China and took a cruise down the Yangtze River just to experience that part of the world. And, I got to see the Terracotta Warriors. I don't know if you guys saw that in Discovery Channel, but I love watching Discovery Channel. I think that's important to get exposed to everything that you can, every opportunity that you can. And I applied for opportunities to go out of the country, some around the country in different cities. And every chance that I've gotten to travel, I've taken it. Because when you travel, it broadens your horizons and expands the way that you think. So if there is nothing else that you guys remember that Dr. Green said to you, take off not just the thinking cap, but the limitation that a cap puts on you, and completely think outside of the box and take everything that you ever experienced and put that and be your whole self and bring that to the table in every experience. And that's how you change the game. That's how you own your space. That's how you make a difference in the world.
I think Rachel has a question.
Rachel, that was good though. That was good stuff.
That's
Rachel,
good stuff.
come on, yeah. Okay, I don't mean to say your name. Young girl whose name I'm not saying. Come on.
Do you have any regrets on what you did in the past before you started your job?
Do I have any regrets of what I've done in the past before I started my job? That's a really good question. I try to live my life without regrets. I made sure that there were some decisions that I made that helped me to not have regrets. Like I made a decision not to get pregnant before I got married so that my life wouldn't have that difficulty and that challenge. And I know that struggle, so I intentionally avoided that. I always made sure that I did my homework before I went to a party or before I took time out to go play, however that was. And I made sure that I took care of my responsibilities first. I saw a lot of people when I was growing up who lived with a lot of regrets, and I learned from their mistakes to take advantage of every opportunity that was presented to me, to not squander my gifts. And I'll share this with you guys because I think it's important. There were some people in my family who were addicted to alcohol and addicted to drugs and addicted to other adult behaviors. And I saw how difficult their lives were. And I intentionally made a commitment to myself not to go down that path and to choose something else for myself to give me more options, to have a better chance at life, to have a life that was less stressful, less cumbersome with those type of things. The one thing that I wish I had known about when I started graduate school was what's called an MD PhD program. And I didn't learn about it until I was already into my PhD program. So a lot of people hear doctor and they automatically think medical doctor. And I was on the track and finish the track to be a doctor of philosophy, so a PhD instead of an MD. And an MD can practice medicine and works with patients to treat diseases. You guys are familiar with that, right?
Yes.
But a lot of people may not have the appreciation for a PhD in science or history or mathematics. And having a PhD, you're still a doctor and you do research and you contribute in meaningful ways to society. But had I known when I started graduate school, I would have pursued an MD in addition to my PhD at the same time. And so some of my mentors said, oh, you can go get your MD now, or you can still do it. And I didn't want to invest the time at a point where I want to start a family. And I said, okay, maybe when I'm 45 or so, I'll consider it. But all the things that I want to do with my cancer treatments, I've been able to do with my PhD in physics. So I don't call that a regret because it's the way my path in life just happened to be. And I think it's important, even if there may be an opportunity that, oh, I wish I would have done this, or oh, I wish I would have done that. I think it's important not to dwell on the past, but to always look forward into the future to see how can you optimize the opportunities that are presented to you now. And it just so happened that I had the opportunity as a PhD in physics to come to a medical school at Morehouse School of Medicine and be a medical physicist at a medical school without an MD, and be in the company of other PhDs who are contributing to medical research with a PhD and advancing the cures and solutions for diseases with a PhD. You guys follow that?
Yeah, that's a neat trick.
I got another question.
Okay, you got another question? Come on. Who else? Come on.
I'm say it out loud.
Okay, say it out loud.
Okay. How long have your experience been successful? Like for the cancer, how long has it been successful?
Okay, very good question. So let me start with saying by successful, I need to put that in the context of it's working in mice, not yet in humans. So it started working in mice in 2009. And that's, I guess, how long it's been successful in mice. 2009, 2010, so 6 or 7 years.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So what does it take to be able to duplicate that success in human beings? What do you have to do now to get it for human beings?
So very, very good question. And what I'm learning is that it takes a lot of money and approval by the FDA. And there was a study that was done that averaged the last 200 companies that got approval by the FDA for medical devices. And on average, that cost them $31 million. So that's what it's going to take to do what I'm doing from animals to humans.
But you already got your first one, right?
I got my first million.
We got 30 more million to call. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's nothing. I got you.
Another question. How can we help you get the next 30 million? Because this is amazing research you've...
Oh, thank you, thank you. So I have a foundation that I started. It's called the Orally Smith Cancer Research Foundation. It's actually named after my aunt who raised me. And the website is www.physics, cancer.org. So physics2cancer.org. And all donations are tax deductible. And if you guys want to help with sponsorships, donations, fundraisers, any efforts will be greatly appreciated. So that's the website, physics2cancer.org. Donations can be made. I have been doing these type of speaking engagements to larger audiences in exchange for a donation to my research. So that's also another mechanism that we can have really meaningful partnerships. But I also have to balance the time now, because before some of the national media attention, I had actually never declined an invitation to speak to a group of young people. And then there were so many of them that came in all at once, and I have to balance the time between being in the lab and actually doing the work, and then being on the road fundraising. And so it helps me to continue to move forward and make progress if, when I go speak, people donate to my research in exchange for me speaking and motivating and inspiring the next generation, which is a passion of mine. But I also know all the emails that I'm getting from cancer patients who are currently at the point where they need something other than chemotherapy and radiation, and they want to try my treatments. But I have to get the approval of the FDA first, which costs money first to be able to launch a clinical trial.
Any other questions? Anybody else? No? Well, I just want to say thanks for hanging out with us today, Dr. Green.
Oh, my pleasure. And let me clarify one thing.
Okay.
The cost of the first initial trial is somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000. So that's the first goal. That's the first goal. And then after there, we'll keep working our way up to the 31 million. So.
Okay, I guess I do have a question. So if you were able to start those trials, let's say, early next year in humans, how long do you think it would take before that becomes like a viable option for just people like that are just, they ask for the glow in the dark treatment?
So the glow in the dark treatment is actually the one that's still in the lab.
Okay.
To develop. The one that's not glow in the dark is the one that may be ready in the next, year or two, depending on how the approval process goes. And from what I've read, that still takes a few years before it's readily available. And there, of course, has to be early adopters who say, we'll offer this in our hospitals and our clinics. So stay tuned.
Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Everybody tell her bye. Let's tell Dr. Green bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I just got social media, so.
Internet. She got internet. That's what's up. All right. Well, thanks a lot.
It's been a pleasure, guys, and I wish you all the best, and be fearless and courageous as you go forward.
All right.
Thank you.
Good.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank